What's up, everybody? A new season is here. Your 2023-24 World Champion Boston Celtics back together on Tuesday at the Auerbach Center at the GBH building next door, going through their media day chores. They have to meet with like the big assembled media, and then they come across the street and they do like a million photo shoots. They had to spend some time with me. You'll be seeing that a little later throughout the season and maybe here on the Celtics Talk Pod. But I'll tell you this, my big takeaway from the day was there's a vibe of, hey, there's something special here. They brought back this whole crew from last season. And I think this group is eager to see if they can keep this thing going, that they can, as dominant as they were last year, there's a chance for them to put themselves in some pretty elite company. I think we knew, the natural tendency is to think that teams are going to get complacent after a title. No repeat champion in the NBA since 2017-18 with the Warriors. But it sure feels like there's a chance here for the Celtics to buck that trend and really sort of assert themselves. They were dominant last year in every metric, and yet Joe Mazzulla is pushing them from their first meeting. We heard the little room I was in, we heard them talking about how showing a video of a sprinter winning an event, but being disappointed that he didn't set the world record. And I think the message there is along the lines of there's always some way to push yourself. There's always something to be motivated by. I believe it harkens back to 2018 or 2016 and Usain Bolt winning gold but not breaking the 200-meter record. I gotta double check all those facts, but a little reminder that the Celtics still feel like there's some unfinished business, and there's a lot of motivation out there for this squad. So like it's a little bit of an overwhelming day. It's hard to find the best of the day and what resonated. But our crew, me, Eddie, Scal, Giles, we all got together. Drew and Abby dropped in as well to talk about everything from media day and our big takeaways coming into the season before the Celtics actually get on the practice floor and everything they said from that day. So you'll hear a combination of the best sound of the day, and you'll hear our reaction to the vibes around this team as they get ready. I don't think we're allowed to say to defend their title. It doesn't sound like the Celtics want to put that on them. There's a lot of talk about the hunted and the hunty. But I think they're just set on accomplishing another big goal and trying to get back to that championship stage. The fun starts today. I'm recording this on Wednesday morning. The practice is in a couple hours. We'll get our first glimpse of the team back on the court now. It's all the same guys pretty much from last year. A couple changes. Baylor Shireman joining this group. We'll see Lonnie Walker out there with this crew. But it's going to be neat just to see those guys back on the court. Short off season. Game start October 4th over there in Abu Dhabi against the Denver Nuggets. This thing is gonna get cranked up pretty quickly. But let's digest everything from Media Day. Here's our special Celtics Post-Up Media Day edition. You'll hear Giles leading us through with me, Eddie Scal. Here's the best from Media Day.
Question is how can we stay consistent? And are we about the things that we embraced last year to get there? Do we sacrifice for one another? Are we willing to take everybody's best shot? And do we look at it as a fun challenge? Like for me, this is as good of a challenge as you get if you're a competitor. So we should be excited about it.
If we would have lost last year, our goal would be to win a championship this year. So I think just clearly stating we want to win a championship every single year. That's the goal, that's the standard, that's the expectation. So what happened in the past really doesn't change when we step foot in the building on this day. It's to win a championship. So that's always going to be the goal.
We had a target on our back the last couple of years. Nothing has changed in that aspect. If anything, we know how great it felt to win and what it took, and we're trying to go win again. Not necessarily defend it, but, just like anybody else, we want to go win a championship.
I'm just excited about, just tomorrow. We had a good month of September. We had a lot of our guys here working, and But ultimately, for me, just exciting to finally get everybody and we can, start back up again.
Honestly, I think it's going to be the same thing. People are going to say that we suck, and then other people are going to be like, we're really good. And then at the end of the day, I think we have to keep our circle tight and fight together and try to get to to win our last game like we did this last season.
When you're at the bottom, you can go one way or the other. When you're at the top, you can keep going and break, or you can go down. So it kind of feels weirdly, oddly enough, the same. So I'm excited just to start the journey again.
All right, again, that journey starts tomorrow. Tom Giles, Chris Forsberg, Scal, Eddie House with us as well. And Eddie, I want to start with you because, hey, there we go.
We back. We back. I got you. Come on, I got you.
You had Eddie, Caleb Burton, Mark D'Amico, you guys killing it today.
Yeah, we had a good time.
You had 3+ hours. You had a live stream going on. And so that's why I want to start with you. And, Chris, I know you talked to a lot of guys one-on-one as well. But what were the vibes like as you guys were talking to everyone about?
Yo, I did some work, too, man. I don't
start with Eddie. What's up with this?
He came late. But the first thing I thought about, I was like, is this time and a half?
It should be. This is the second time.
This time
take that up with Kevin Miller.
Yeah, you see, I was talking to him when we walked in here, though. We had a good conversation. But ask the question again because we just had fun.
Well, I mean, I was just like, because you're there for talking to just about everyone on the team, just what kind of vibes you got from the guys coming back?
The vibe I got from the team was their connectivity, how they were connected, and their mission is, okay, they all were in unison and they all were pulling the same way when it came down to the real question. It was, okay, last year was last year. We enjoyed the summer, but this year is this year, and once the ring ceremony happens, you're going to go through that emotion and have a good time there and do all that and reflect. But then once that ball goes up, it's about the next season and about which way are you moving. And everybody, I just asked, like, how much time did they take off? And everybody took a few weeks off, as they should, but they all were in the gym. And everybody was saying that they put extensive time in the gym, and not only in the gym, but in the film room as well. And we'll see, because a lot of people say that, but I really believe these guys because they came out and said it last year, and they came out and showed me that that's exactly what they were doing. So I have to believe that that's what they were doing.
I think they're going to be more consistent this year than they were last year, and they were really good last season because normally when you win a championship, you lose guys. There's guys on the team that get paid, get better opportunity. You have to make tough decisions. Am I going to pay this guy or am I going to pay that guy? But, with this team, they decided to bring, predominantly everyone back. So now it's about building on what you already have done and building from the confidence. I tell everybody, people don't know this because we didn't win a championship in 2009, but I thought the start of that season was our best team. I thought we were better than we were in 2008, and even the team that went to the NBA Finals in 2010, I thought we were better than that team. Kevin Garnett got hurt. We have an older player like Al Horford, and we've had Porzingis. But if those two stay healthy, I think this will be the best Celtic team we've seen in a really long time.
Chris, you've been to, I don't know how many different media days. How many media days is it for you? Yeah, okay. So I guess, how was this one different than years past? How was it different with them coming off a championship?
So I think the normal tendency is to think there's going to be complacency, that there'll be like a downshift because you've won something, and I got none of that today. In fact, you hear Tatum say there, like, we're not even calling it a title defense, because you can either look at it one of two ways. Either they accomplished something or they're still trying to do something. And one of the things that I think Joe Mazzulla is instilling upon them is that, like, how do you want to be remembered? You have a chance here to be, like, we can start the dynasty conversation. We can talk about, like, all these different things if you win more than one. And no one's gone back-to-back in the last half decade. There's an opportunity here for these Celtics to do something. I think they're embracing that, and they're not just going to sit on what they accomplished with this one.
And again, you brought up already, Scal, but you got basically everybody back. And let's take a closer look at that. It's Bringing the Heat, presented by Eastern Propane and Oil. They're in your neighborhood, and you're looking at the top 9 guys in minutes played last year. They're all back. And then you have Queta and Tillman. Obviously, Queta was with the team and sometimes with Portland last year, but Tillman came in halfway through. They're also right there, 12th and 13th. So you're bringing back this many guys. What does that mean for them and their ability to pretty much just hit the ground running?
Yeah, I think the starters, let's call them the top 6 guys. We know Porzingis is going to be out. I think that those guys are going to be fine. I think they understand the magnitude of legacy. I think they're playing for more than just like I look back and think it was a shame that we only won one championship with that 2008 team. I think these guys would regret only winning one championship. So I get that. But I really believe that the next group of guys, let's call it 7 to 10, 7 to 12, however you want to slice it, those guys I feel like are going to take a bigger step forward. They're going to be more confident. Like Sam Hauser making shots in meaningful games, Peyton Pritchard coming up big, and I think it was the shot that sealed the deal for our championship at the half court. Luke Cornett and his confidence. So I believe that these guys will be more confident going in as long as they do what Al Horford said: come in the gym and set the tone and work. And that's what Brad Stevens was echoing today, was those guys who aren't in that rotation, they still got to come in and set the tone early. If they do that, it's confidence and work, and it's like that perfect storm of they're ready to take another step forward, and that's what it looks like this group is going to do.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you with that 2009 take that you said. I don't think, because losing Posey and P.J. Brown was like super huge at that point.
Look at our record early on.
Record 27-2.
We were smacking people early.
That's fine. That's regular season. Mm-hmm. And when it came down to it, when we couldn't get stops because we didn't have Ticket back there, we did need a guy like Posey with his, or a hard-nosed guy that could get that tough rebound like P.J. Brown. I'm not saying nothing about it.
If we didn't have Ticket the first year or the 10th year, we weren't winning the championship. We won 62 games, and we had Orlando on the ropes.
But listen, that's the reason why we won, because we did have Ticket. But my point is, everybody came back and nobody got plucked from this team. And normally, in every situation, when somebody, think about when
Denver won, Bruce Brown.
Gone. Denver won, he's gone. That hurt. What happened in Milwaukee? Somebody left in Milwaukee. Somebody got up out of there. I can't remember.
No, they were just old.
They were. Well, that's what it was.
And that's another thing. This team ain't old.
No. Exactly.
They're not old. And that makes a big difference. I mean, Al Horford is a little bit, he's up there, but he takes care of himself. So we're not all on the downhill. These guys are in their prime. And, this is a unique situation for the Celtics to pay all that money in luxury tax to bring this team back.
Man, I looked at everybody that came here, we talked today, to every single player, and they looked in phenomenal shape. And for the most part, older guys will come in, and they'll at least say, like, hey, we're going to use training camp to get into shape. Everybody looked like they were ready to go. Because they got to practice tomorrow. They looked like they were ready to go.
Yeah. And Brad even said, you normally in this sort of situation, you'd like to make one or two little tweaks just to spice things up a little bit, but there was really no need here. And then you're still adding someone like Lonnie Walker to the mix, who could potentially compete for a roster spot, and I think that's just going to be enough to give this team the juice. But that continuity and chemistry, while everyone else is figuring it out, and all the moves that other teams have made, the Celtics should hit the ground running. All right, and they're certainly going to be motivated, and that's been a big topic of conversation. But you obviously had the Olympics in Paris this past summer, and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, both probably feeling extra motivated because of what happened with the Olympics, whether they were there or not. Here's what they had to say.
I'm curious what you learned from your experience at the Olympics this summer.
That's a broad question. You want to be more specific?
Is it something you're going to draw motivation from, I guess?
You want to address the, I didn't play in 2 of those games? That's what you mean?
That's part of it, yeah.
Motivation. I guess you could say that, and if you want to simplify it. In real time, it was tough. But it's, and Joe, I talk to Joe a lot. Joe was probably the happiest person in the world that I didn't win Finals MVP and that I didn't play in 2 of the games in the Olympics. So that was odd, but if you know Joe, it makes sense.
Welcome back. Not getting called on for the Olympic roster there, how did that make you feel? Any
Question
of those?
number 1.
Sorry. Right off the bat. Not a lot of chances here.
Get to warm up a little. I'm ready to go. I'm excited about being back. The past is the past, but I'm ready to get after it. Lead our guys, get the guys, build some team chemistry, not skip any steps, and just set the tone for another year again. I'm extremely motivated for obvious reasons, and I'm ready to get after it.
All right, so Jaylen Brown not invited to the Olympic team. Jason Tatum didn't play in those last a few games when he was over there, Chris. Obviously, I think the first thing that a lot of Celtics fans look to is saying, how's this going to motivate them to go out there and win a championship and prove to the rest of the NBA that they should be representing their country as, two of the best players?
I love that Joe Mazzulla is the one that's like, this is great. This is motivation for Tatum to go out there, go to another level, to use it as fuel. We know they're going to do it. We saw Jaylen Brown just go through these playoffs, mad about no all defense and no all NBA and all these little things that fueled him to MVP in the East Finals and MVP in the Finals. Now he's got a whole nother reason to be angry with the league. And I don't know, man. Like he keeps saying, we kept looking at that monitor going, he looks pretty jacked, right? He said after those underwater workouts, he's got muscles on top of muscles and muscles in places he didn't know he could have muscles. And as KG was so eloquently said, look out for the rest of the league, because when Jaylen's doing that underwater, it's trouble.
I'll say this, is that it was a bogus move by Steve Kerr not to play Jason Tatum. You can't tell me that Jason Tatum wasn't one of the best players on that team. He's a top 5 All-NBA player. First team for what, back-to-back years or 3 straight years?
3 straight.
So you're telling me that he can't get all that, he can't sniff it, but it's the way that you could try to cause some dissension or division within a team, right? And then also because they know what's going to happen, and we brought everybody back. They know, the league knows what's going to happen, and everybody knows what's going to happen if this team stays healthy and stays together. It's trouble. For sure. It's smoke in the city. And for Jaylen to get disrespected with not making all NBA when he picked up the best player, 94 feet sometimes, guarded bigs, rebounded, and then also was an efficient scorer, right? And then don't get that love. That's hard to do, what he did. Then you diss him on the USA team.
Yep.
Then you diss him on the All-NBA team. And I was talking to him today, I was like, all competitors, we all look for that one little thing, whatever it is. And they gave him 3. They gave him 3 things to go crazy at. They gave Tatum to go something crazy at. And I feel like this, when your superstars, you know this, when your superstars are super motivated, you see them every single day in the gym, ooh, it motivates you. Before you know it, everybody's in there doing the same thing. And I think that's what this team is at right now.
Yeah, the margins are small in the NBA. If everybody is improving 1% because those guys are pushing it. I remember when KG walked in, man, it was different. I don't know about how it was for you.
Oh, it was for me.
Man, he was different. And so it just, you perk up and you got to, it's not, you're like changing your entire life. You're just giving just like a little bit extra and it all adds up.
And you don't want to let him down because you like, this is my best player. Because I'll come in, I might practice at 10, right? I might slide in there at 9:15. You know what I mean? Go get and BS around, laugh, giggle, and all that. Not getting I usually do my work after practice. But the fact that I come in there and Ticket was already in a full-fledged sweat, and they said he was in the weight room. You just seeing him in the gym getting his shots up, and then afterwards he going to work too. It made you feel like this big, like, oh man, you know what I mean? The best players doing it. I gotta step it up. I can't let him down. I can't let my team down.
I'm really encouraged by the health of our team. I mean, we had Kristaps obviously had the surgery that was well documented after the year, and seems to be recovering well. He's very optimistic. I think I don't know that we're interested in putting a timeline on him because the injury is unique. But as far as how he feels and the progress that he's made, I'd say we're very, very pleased with where he is, and maybe a little surprised.
Walking obviously with nothing. I'm running. I'm on the court, shooting, normal. I'm doing a lot of stuff, honestly. I was already kind of with some light contact doing some stuff also. And yeah, felt really good afterwards. So I think it's a really good sign that we have from the other day. And again, I'm optimistic as always.
All right, I know we also talked to you guys on the set, Eddie, and said that he felt like he was way ahead of schedule, which I think a lot of Celtics fans, they hear that. They're going to be pretty excited about the fact that Porzingis, who, again, had that ankle surgery, on his way back here. And, you're expecting to be out for a couple months. But, Chris, I'll ask you then, what do you take away from that? What do you hear when you hear Kristaps Porzingis talk about where he's at?
Yeah, when he came in our room, he said, as soon as they give me a green light, I'm going to go. And I said, well, because there's some time here and how vital you are to the postseason, would you allow them to bring you along slowly? He's like, nope. So as soon as this thing is okay, as soon as the medical staff is confident, they're going to turn him loose. But the luxury is this team has been really good without him. And they've every time, Scal, what do they do? Who steps up?
Oh, my God.
Come on, I thought we were doing that.
We having that conversation this year?
Who steps up?
Who's going to step up?
Yeah. So you got, like, everyone keeps saying to me, oh, do they have enough big man depth? Is the Nemish Keita and Luke Cornett going to be enough? Yeah, they were enough last year. They figured it out with it. But I think what people are sleeping on is that guys like Peyton Pritchard are going to play more. And while you don't necessarily think, oh, patching the center spot with a guard, there's just going to be, everyone's going to need to do a little bit more. And I can see big years coming from Hauser, Pritchard, all those bench guys that Scal was talking about earlier. And if they go up a little bit, that's going to weather that storm. And then when Kristaps comes back and you're totally dynamic again, you just got to weather that first few months.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Like, if we all want to just, like, put it out there, we did win a championship basically without Kristaps Porzingis. Like that's how, and it wasn't really close.
But that game one was huge.
He was huge.
No question. No, I'm not saying like, but no way watching the NBA when you watch that even if he didn't play, we were still winning a championship. Like, people forget. Yeah. People think, oh, Celtics had it easy. No, they had one of their key guys out. But I will say the gap from where we were and everybody else it's closer. Yep. I still think we're the best team. You
think so?
Yeah, I think they're better. I think Orlando, I think Knicks, I think Philly. I think there's some better teams in the East. But, I mean, Miami, you assume, with Jimmy Butler being, where he's at in his contract situation, he's going to bring it. Terry Rozier. Like, I think it's a closer gap, but we did win a championship without him last year. So we were really good, and I think you could still win games. But if you ultimately want to have, like, you want to stamp that banner 19, then he has to be ready to go. And I don't think it's just for the playoffs. I think throughout the regular season, he has to build his body up so he can sustain it through the playoffs.
Now, he was kind of saying that when we talked to him earlier. He was saying that, he feels good. He's been doing some contact, playing a little bit ones. He said he played ones. It wasn't one of those crazy one-on-ones. It wasn't a G unit run. Yeah. But he was like, he played a little bit one-on-one, got up and down. His body felt good. He was like, he feels a little ahead of schedule, like he told you. But at the same, he told us that same thing. But if I'm the Celtics, I'm not going to, it's no need to rush him back unless it looks like, man, we just started the season off totally different than what everybody envisioned us to be starting the season, and we need him. But I don't feel like there's a need to rush him back. To your point you just said, we won a championship with him not being out there to bulk up the playoff run. We were still able to win games. When he came back, you did see the difference, that it really changed what we are as a team with him out on the floor defensively and offensively. And so knowing those factors and knowing how smart this organization is, I don't expect them to rush him back. And I don't think even if he wants to go and he feels great, I don't think they're going to allow him to go until they say, hey, this is the date that we got to make it happen.
And that's the luxury, is that they are as good as they are and that they should be able to win games without him, knowing that the last few months are just much more important than the first few months of the season. All right, taking a look at Jrue Holiday and Derrick White.
Stock exchange is up.
They had a pretty good summer. Jrue Holiday, obviously we knew about the extension at the beginning of the playoffs there. Derrick White also getting an extension, but these two guys had themselves a time as well, winning gold medals in August over in Paris. And let's get to, first of all, Derrick White and him finding out that he would be a part of the U.S. Olympic team.
I just think, like, when you're around great players every day for about a month and a half, you got no choice but to pick up, like, what makes them great, what makes them special, from what they eat, from, like, their preparation, how they take care of their bodies, what they're doing in the weight room. So just all those little things off the court, which you don't really get to see unless you're on their team. So I think that was probably the coolest part for me. And then just, like, on the court, just seeing how they compete, just how they're focused on all the little things. And it was just really cool to see the day in and day out process of legends of this game.
I gotta start with Eddie, because you're the king of the Derrick White fan club based on last year's Celtics pre- and post-game lives. How much can he take away from this experience? How much better can this make Derrick White?
You know what's funny is that I asked Peyton this question. I didn't ask Jrue, and I didn't ask JT, because at the end of the day, they're already up there. So, like, when you around for the first time around that crew, like the All-Star game, basically, and they all said the same thing. It was like how their preparation, how they, took care of their body, what they put in their body. LeBron coming out of the weight room at 7 in the morning had already been in there when somebody just walking, you just walking through like, oh, man, damn, you been in the weight room already? Like those small things. I think that what Derrick White could literally take from this is that I belong with these guys. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's the most important thing. And then also them guys that be like, he belongs with us, because that's a different club. We in a fraternity, right? We in the basketball fraternity, NBA fraternity.
Yeah, it's a solid
but there's
fraternity.
a different fraternity within that fraternity.
And then there's a different fraternity
inside that fraternity.
There's like 4 levels to that thing.
And he was at the top of the level when he was with the USA team. I asked him I said, man, it had to be some fiery practices. And he was like, yeah, it was me, Jrue, and JT talking to everybody like, y'all can't beat us, man. And they all like, no, we could beat y'all. And then they had a scrimmage, he said. And when they got into that scrimmage, he just said, I couldn't repeat what was going on, basically, but a whole lot of trash talking, but at the same time, the highest level of basketball play. So just to be around it, even Peyton Pritchard going to the select team, just going and working out with those guys, you see a different level. And all that does is going to make you better at the end of the day. It either makes you better or it makes you doubt yourself. And we don't have any doubters on our team.
Yeah. So a few things. When I was in college, I got a chance to play at Michael Jordan's basketball camp, and I played with Michael Jordan for the whole week. I was on his team. And Michael stamped me. I was like, yo, you're going to be on my team all week, right? Because I moved the ball, whatever. I go to the NBA, Jason Kidd, he stamped me. Those guys, when they stamp you, your confidence, it's not like, oh, I doubled. It's like times 100, right? When I got to Boston, Garnett, like that stuff matters. So for him, Derrick White, from all the rumors we hear, is LeBron James was like, no, go get Derrick White. Like that's who he wanted to get for the team. And since LeBron ran the Avengers, he was Tony Stark. LeBron is the guy he got the guy he wanted. I mean, just put it together. All you hear all offseason before the draft with Bronny James saying, I'm about to be the next Derrick White, right? So obviously when it comes down and Derrick White goes, that's what everyone thinks. So that means a lot. I mean, LeBron is, a lot of people say he's the greatest player. I think he's the second greatest player, but that's a big deal, right? So I just feel like for his confidence going into this year, that dude's bona fide. Jrue Holiday, think about it. 2 gold medals, 2 championships.
Hall of Famer.
In the same year, the only other player that's ever done that is Scottie Pippen, and Scottie Pippen's a Hall of Famer. Jrue Holiday is going to be a Hall of Famer because of what just happened. Imagine if he go and gets another one, he might be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that's a quote unquote, which I don't like to use it because it's role player, but Jrue Holiday is bona fide based off of his summer, so even he can go to another level.
Who was number 1 on the list, though? You said LeBron's 2. Who's number 1?
You know who's number 1 is. Come on, ain't no question. I don't even know why it's a discussion. If y'all don't know, go watch the highlight. It's on YouTube. Type it in.
He wore 23.
Yeah, MJ 23.
And he picked Scal for his team.
Yeah, I'm biased.
Yeah.
I rolled all week. That's a whole nother story if you guys want to hear it. Not right now, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick story about Derrick White. So he had a couple things planned this offseason before Team USA called. He was supposed to get those teeth fixed, and he couldn't do that. So he actually just got it done like a couple weeks ago and had to have like 3 root canals and the 2 new teeth installed. Yeah, it's been nasty.
3 root canals.
Oof. It doesn't sound painful. But the worst of it all was his wife and I think his friends were taking him to Cabo for his 30th birthday party. And he was like, well, Team USA doesn't always call. So he went over there, and all his buddies called him from Cabo with a cardboard cutout of him on the beach and taunted him for not being there. But you know what? Those are the sacrifices you have to make to go win
got
gold.
A gold medal. Damn, Cabo. Right? Cabo going to be there.
Yeah, he can
that gold medal ain't going to be there all the time.
Yeah,
he might not be on the next, USA to you. You have no idea. Yeah. So you got to accept that one.
All right, Scal did mention Jrue Holiday and kind of knowing what his role is right here. I mean, if you go back to last media day, he was coming in hot for that one as he was just acquired by the Celtics. Here's what Jrue Holiday had to say about entering his second year in Boston.
But this year, I know for me personally, it's just chemistry. I am here, and I know what my role is and what I'm going to do, and I feel like we have a lot of the same team. So we know that we're going to build chemistry. We're going to do it through training camp and through most of the season. And Joe will probably have to do some new crazy drills or whatever. So super excited for that.
All right. Can't tell if he's actually excited for that or not, but the fact that he brings it up, like, they all know what the roles are. We went through the minutes in the first segment of the show, but Jrue Holiday's coming into this. He's not just coming in, for the first time in late September. He's known what it's going to be, Chris. How much does that help this team moving forward?
Yeah, I think about it with everybody. Like Xavier Tillman having to latch on midstream. He's going to be more confident in his role, and he should be leaned on earlier in the season. But like for Jrue, it's just going to be, they've gave him a lot immediately. We heard in that training camp clip that we played a bunch last year, Joe Mazzulla saying to him, hey, you got your ability to freelance. You call whatever you want. You do what you want. Just have a reason for doing it. And they gave him a lot of responsibility, and he embraced it. But now he's got roots here, the 4-year contract, the extension. Like, there's a real opportunity for him to get comfortable here and play even more beyond what we saw last season. There's going to be times where if KP's not out there, he's going to have to go up a little bit. And I just think you're going to get even more of that Jrue Holiday experience, which already in the playoffs, we started in that Indy series. He turned a couple games in that series alone with his late game play. Could be really important to whatever happens next. And look, only one dude on this team knows what it's like to have to try to defend a title. And that knowledge will help as he can tell everybody else like how difficult it is. Like Scal said, this team is less old than the Bucks, though.
The one thing about it with Jrue last year, if you think back, during the early part of the regular season, he wasn't super efficient offensively. His defense was there, but offensively, it almost was like, oh, do I fit in here? When do I?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It was choppy.
Am I the Jrue Holiday of last year with Middleton out, or am I the Jrue Holiday of what's my new Jrue Holiday role?
Exactly.
But then when he did,
it came together in like right at the end of the season, the playoffs. Understanding like, oh, I got to walk right into this shot. I'm not gonna come and look to defer here. Dude's sagging off. I'm gonna jack that up and knock that down. It's just the way that, and it's the same way with Derrick White at the time. When Derrick White came in on that trade and went to the finals, he was double dutching like, am I aggressive? Am I not aggressive? What do I do? And then last year you look at him, he walking into his shots, getting to his spots and things like that. So I think that's what Jrue is talking about with chemistry. Is like, all right, I've played with these guys now. I know you know where I'm gonna be at. I know where you're gonna be at. It's a whole lot easier to just go out there and be yourself, as opposed, you know this too. It is a thinking game, but you're supposed to react.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? You could think, but you're supposed to react more than you're out there really overthinking.
Yeah, don't double dutch.
The thing, too, is, I mean, they're planning on playing 100-plus games, and you're going to have guys that are going to be out from time to time, even if they don't want to be. So knowing the rotations and knowing the guys you're going to play with, especially if you know the top 9 and everything else, how does that make things easier for Jrue Holiday to recognize, like, this has got to be a night where I got to step up and play more of a prominent role here?
Yeah, I don't think that they look at the game like that. I think, like, whatever the game unfolds, I don't think, like, watching this team play, I don't think it's a predetermined team at all. I think the only two guys that might, like, say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive at this point, is Tatum and Brown. They kind of pick and choose when they want to put their foot on the gas or downshift a little bit. But for the most part, I think it's just and probably Eddie will talk about this more than I can, is your mindset is just a tick different. Like you're just a tick hungrier than you were if you knew you were going to play 30 minutes because the guy's out.
Oh, for sure.
It's just it's small, right?
Out there. You out there. You know that you have the opportunity to go out there and play freely. It's not like, okay, I'm only getting 18 minutes tonight. Mm-hmm. I know that in the first half I might get 9. I might get a little bit more later. So it might be condensed on what you have to do, and you have to do it in that small period of time. But if you know you're playing 30 minutes, you're out there comfortable.
All right, that's going to do it for the Celtics Post-Up Media Day edition. Again, if you want to check out all the interviews, all that stuff, go to the social media accounts. We've got a bunch of them posted there. But for Scal, Eddie, Forsberg,
we still back.
We just getting started, y'all.
We'll see you soon.
When do we work again?
We'll see you soon.